How we doing, everybody? Matt Modi here with Jedi Modi Sports Betting, here to give you my favorite MLB player prop bangers for Tuesday, June 20th. So I'm recording this the night before, trying this out for a little bit. So if you're tuning in, I appreciate you. To do a recap from technically today's picks, but I will categorize them as yesterday, Monday, June 19th. I gave out two picks on this YouTube channel. I went 1-1, but thanks to the higher unit play winning, I ended the day in the green plus 0.22 units. I had a 1.5 unit play on James Paxton to record over 6.5 strikeouts. That cashed. Then I had a 1 unit play on Austin Gomber to record under 4 strikeouts. That unfortunately lost, bringing the day to 1-1. Again, up 0.22 units. That brings our overall results on these MLB player prop picks that I've been doing for the past, I've only done it for 3 days so far, to 2, 3, and 1. Still down 0.47 units because of a slow start, but I'm profitable in the past 2. So hopefully you've been able to tail those. As for today, I got 2 player prop picks for you guys. One of them is a plus money banger. One of them is unfortunately not. Both are going to be strikeout props. Before I get into it, it would help me out a ton while you're here if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are not already. And then if you are, or you just did, make sure to like the video. That also helps me out a ton. And then comment, let me know if you're tailing or fading or whatever you like for the day. And then I also have a membership option for my YouTube channel as well. So if you're interested in becoming a Jedi in training, you can go ahead and check that out. It's the very first link in the description of the video, as well as the pinned comment. But without further ado, let's get into these picks. So the first play that I'm going to go ahead and lock in here is Cutter Crawford for the Red Sox to record over 4.5 strikeouts. That is at plus 104 odds at FanDuel. Now, Crawford is a pitcher for the Red Sox, a lefty. So if you watched the video for Monday's picks, you know how much I love betting on pitchers that are pitching against the Twins. So this isn't necessarily a play backing Cutter Crawford because he has electric stuff. This is more of just a fade on the Twins. Now, I went into a huge rant about how often the Twins strike out on yesterday or today's video, depending on when you're watching this. But if you missed that, against left-handed pitchers specifically, the Twins strike out the most in the entire MLB at a 27.1% rate. That's insane. It's insane that a team strikes out over 25% of the time. For reference, the second team, the team that strikes out the second most, is the Oakland Athletics, and they strike out at 25.8% of the time. So that's a full 1.3% difference from the first to second place teams. That's crazy. If you look at just the last 14 days, now this is not specific to lefties, this is overall, but in the last 14 days, they strike out 30% of the time. Now, if you look at the Twins batters, it's truly astounding just how often they strike out, which makes sense when you look at their team strikeout rate. But generally, I consider a strikeout player to be someone that strikes out 25% and above. The Twins have 8 players on their team that have recorded 100 or more plate appearances that strike out over 25% of the time. 8 players. They have 7 that are over 30% of the time. So at the time of this recording, obviously lineups are not announced, but there is no way that the Twins could put a lineup out there that don't feature at a minimum 5, 6, 7 strikeout guys. It's just insane how often they strike out. Now, looking at Crawford himself, he's pretty average when it comes to being a strikeout pitcher. He averages 1.02 strikeouts per inning, which puts him at the 52nd percentile. He's a little bit better at swinging strike rate, which would be at 13%. That puts him in the 75th percentile. But then he's slightly worse at whiff rate, which would be at 26.5% of the time, which puts him in the 30th percentile. So all in all, Cutter Crawford is an average strikeout pitcher, but average strikeout pitchers that pitch against the Twins, they go off. So all we need is him for him to hit 5 strikeouts, which isn't a ton. And that's what we are going with for our first pick. Cutter Crawford over 4.5 strikeouts. Next up, another strikeout prop. We are taking it under, and we are taking Jordan Montgomery to go under 4.5 strikeouts. This is at -108 odds at FanDuel. So 1 over and 1 under. Now this play, Jordan Montgomery is pitching against the Nationals. This is a play basically saying that Nats just simply don't strike out. The Twins are a huge strikeout team. The Nats are the literal opposite. And it's very funny to me because by pretty much any statistical measure you look at, the Nats have a below average offense. They just never strike out. So if you remember, the Twins strike out 27.2% of the time against left-handed pitchers. The Nationals are all the way down at 18.2%. So it's almost a 10% difference in terms of how frequently they strike out. Looking at the last 7 left-handed pitchers that have gone up against the Nats, only one has gone over their strikeout prop, and that would be Braxton Garrett back on June 17th. So I mentioned also above that I like to look at players that strike out over 25% of the time to be considered a strikeout guy. Well, of players that have had enough plate appearances to qualify, the Nats only have one that strike out over 25% of the time, and his number is at 26.4%. So that means they have 0 players that strike out over 30% of the time, and CJ Abrams, and he's the only player that strikes out even above 20% of the time. So again, it's truly remarkable how infrequently the Nats strike out. Looking at Montgomery, if you want to say that he's gone over this in 3 straight and in 9 of 14 games, I understand the concern, but he's not a strikeout pitcher by any means. Now, I mentioned Cutter Crawford was about average as a strikeout pitcher. Jordan Montgomery is significantly below average when it comes to strikeouts. He has a strikeout per 9 rating of 0.93, which puts him in the 38th percentile. He's got a swinging strike rate of 10.2%. That puts him in the 36th percentile, and he's got a whiff rate of 27.8%, which puts him in the 47th percentile. So all 3 of those metrics below 50%. Not a strikeout guy. Nats aren't a strikeout team. You put that together, I'm taking Jordan Montgomery under his strikeout prop, and that rounds out our 2 picks for the evening. So if you like these plays, if you're tailing, remember to comment and let me know. Other than that, would appreciate it. Again, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out the membership options if you're interested. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.